In 1904, the Olympics were held in St. Louis, Missouri, the first Olympic Games that coincided with the World's Fair. The men's marathon consisted of one dude running in a full suit, two dudes running with no shoes on, one guy almost dying, cheating, quitting, and everything else you could ever possibly imagine if they made a comedy about a marathon. That's what we're talking about today. This is Laughs from the Past. Thoughts?
Yeah, sounds like you got all the pieces.
Just like a little intro, like this is everything, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
This is what we're doing.
Yep. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's Tuesday, so it's Laughs from the Past day. Last week, we talked about the shortest war in history. We're going a little different, Jake. We are going into sports, which we like. You and I are
days.
We're sports fans. If you haven't listened before, my name's Jimmy. Some people may call me John Boy or know me as John Boy, and I got my friend Jake here. How this works is Jake has no idea the story I'm about to tell him. Maybe he does. That would be a good catch. Hasn't happened yet. About some funny story from history or interesting story from history, and we're going to get into it. Talk about it. Play it out. Maybe we'll movieify it. That's what we like doing.
We like doing that.
The shortest war ever, we wrote a great movie for. 3 acts, vengeance, action, spy thriller. It was great. All right, so we're going back to 1904, like you heard.
1904, we're before cars.
Cars exist in 1904, but they're not, roads weren't designed for them yet. They were kind of like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang cars.
Okay.
So they were small. They did exist, though. There's pictures from this event, so it's crazy. So
1904, is the arch built yet in St. Louis?
I don't know, but do you know the arch has a really bad background? That's like
yes, only because you've told me. But yeah.
They like the arch. They got rid of all the slums in Missouri that had waterfront property, and because they thought it was an eyesore, and then they got rid of them and moved them out, and like made them like, and then built the highway so they couldn't even get to the city, and then built the arch there. Arch, St. Louis. Quick Google search will let me know when the arch was built, and then that'll give us, I don't know, 1903. We're well before the arch in 1904.
Yeah. Okay.
Arch was not there.
So where are we starting? World's Fair, marathon, Olympics?
So they had the World's Fair, which used to be a thing. Like my mom went to the World's Fair in New York, and it had to be 60s when she was a kid.
Yeah.
They're dead now, but there's some cool World's Fair stories that I've heard before. So they figured, hey, we're having the World's Fair. Why don't we just host the Olympics?
World's Fair is a really cool idea pre-internet and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for real, it's like you got to see other countries and like cultures.
Yeah.
How were you going to do that before? You had to go to the library and get an encyclopedia?
Yeah, not as fun as the World Fair.
Yeah. All right. America's first Olympics may have been its worst, was the opening to this article. I found this is a kind of common story among history buffs and nerds because it's funny and crazy, but I'm using our source material today is from the Smithsonian. I like to give credit.
Okay.
Karen Abbott wrote it.
Heard of that?
Yeah, so I'm going to skim through it. There's a fun part of the World's Fair that just shows you how crazy the world was eventually. So the games were largely overshadowed by the fair. Makes sense. Fair is more fun than the Olympics, I guess.
At that point.
Yeah. Largely overshadowed by the fair, which offered its own roster of sporting events, which is hilarious. Like the World's Fair was like, no, we'll do some sports too. We know the Olympics are here, but we're going to do our own. Competing with the Olympics in sports.
Yeah, you're going to like this.
Yeah.
You think the Olympic stuff is good? World Fair sports.
Yeah. So the sporting events at the World's
Okay, I was just gonna say, do you have some of the world?
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. The World's Fair had their own events, including the controversial anthropology days.
Okay,
which sounds like, oh, cool, anthropology days. We're going to learn about other cultures. We're going to learn about other people. No, it was in which a group of savages recruited from the fair's international villages competed in a variety of athletic feats, among them a greased pole climb.
Oh yeah,
ethnic dancing. Okay. And mudslinging.
tough to picture me not winning these events.
You think you'd be good at
the greasy pole climb? No chance. I wouldn't even bother.
The greasy pole climb, you have to be long and slender, and like because you really got to wrap your legs around,
and have, like hands and stuff.
Yeah, our bodies aren't made for the greasy pole. We'd slip right off.
Mudslinging and what was the other one?
Ethnic dancing.
Yeah. This is what I was put on the earth to do.
How does mudslinging work?
It's a tremendous question. I'm picturing throwing mud for sure.
Definitely that involves throwing mud.
It's an accuracy. This is always our throwing game debate. Is it distance? Is it accuracy? Is it a combo?
Dude, I have no idea. I mean, maybe some people know what mudslinging is. I'm guessing they're taking hardened mud, which I think is more a clump of dirt. Because how are you going to throw like liquidy mud?
Yeah, that's the thing. Mud's a very specific. Because they knew what dirt was back then. Mud. That's just wet dirt, man. Get me some mudslinging.
Yeah, I don't know what. If someone knows what mudslinging is, let us know. Maybe I'll Google it. So anyway, there's this French guy, and he has a good quote. He made a disapproving quote. His name was Pierre de Coubertin, a French historian and founder of the International Olympic Committee. He's already mad at them for hosting their own sports, so he's a little spiteful. But he took a disapproving note of the spectacle and made a prescient, I don't know that word, observation. His quote, "As for that outrageous charade, it will, of course, lose its appeal when black men, red men, and yellow men learn to jump, run, and throw and leave the white men behind them." So they're like, hey, once you let these guys do actual sports, you're dust.
Yeah, that's a quote that doesn't age too well.
You don't think that once black people started playing sports, they left white people in the dust? Because I kind of sure do.
No, I think that's. I just think calling people yellow people, red people, and black people. That part.
Well, yes. Well, they're still black, but the red man and yellow man. But yeah, I think maybe that was tongue in cheek. Like, oh, once you let this is what you call them play. But
can I say something?
Yeah,
please.
You can say something.
At first, I was totally against the World Fair Games competing with the Olympic Games. I love the World Fair Games. I think, like, each country, you and me used to do Game of Games, where you just basically make up a game on the spot.
Yep.
Each country should have their own thing that's like, okay, yeah, it's not soccer, it's not something internationally known, but like mudslinging. If that was big in one country, like, all right, everyone get your best competitor. We're doing mudslinging. Like,
what you're discussing is women's softball. U.S. is the only country that practices or plays women's softball. They made it an Olympic event, and the U.S. just beat everyone by 10 runs every game. They're like, okay, no more. This isn't an event anymore.
Yeah, I meant things a little more low-key than that, like a sushi eating contest or something.
Well, how about that game where you tag, that Indian game of tag that's now popular? Like, make Americans play that? That'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a little of each country's flavor.
Yeah. That'd be cool. But then they just win. It's like a gold medal. Like, gold medals are taken too seriously to do that.
Yeah, but no, then you see like how the other countries fare at every other sport. And that's so each country, each home country, yeah, they probably win their event.
This is like when we did the Olympics in college and everyone made up their own event and then everyone else had to do it. So it shouldn't be the Olympics, because the Olympics are too highly regarded now and people want gold medals. There should be like a cultural Olympics of sorts. You have to rebrand it a different name. And Japan's like, this is the game we're bringing, and you have to state it. Like, there's a committee to state the game you're bringing, and then a year later is the event. So Japan's like, okay, or India is like, okay, we're bringing our tag. It's a professional sport here. It's been televised, and it doesn't even need to be televised. Other countries can do something completely different. Like, okay, we're bringing frog eating.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck, shit. We got to practice frog eating for a year now? I'm not signing up for that. But then America goes, okay, Japan is bringing tag. Who wants to participate? Open it up to the best athletes, host tryouts, and then go. And then, other countries bring their own. I like this idea.
The culture games, man.
The culture games. Yeah, that's good.
You're not going to love this part. Harry Potter kind of has a thing like that. The Triwizard Tournament. They just kind of make up events and everyone's kind of got to do it.
It would suck some would suck. Like, there's a lot of Americans like, let's do football. I'm like, no,
No, see, that's too much. I'm trying to think of what a good American one would be.
Maybe it can't be a professional sport in your country.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
It just has to be a game.
I'm trying to think of a good U.S. version, man. Like, there's got to be one that I'm just completely blanking on. Like the hand shuffleboard, maybe? Is that in other countries?
Old people? I mean, I would guess it is.
I don't know.
Like if Ireland did, what's their game?
The game with the stick and the.
Yeah, it's very similar to another game name that I can't think of.
Yeah, we're on to something.
That's a good idea. The culture games. All right, let's go back to the marathon. Let me find my place on this thing. So the outcome of this marathon was so scandalous that the event was nearly abolished for good. We have some great characters here in this game. Jake, you're really going to like them.
I like characters.
I'm going to start reading so I can find my place and we'll get going. A few of the runners were recognized marathoners who had either won or placed in the Boston Marathon or had placed in previous Olympic marathons. That makes a lot of sense for the Olympics. But the majority of the field was composed of middle distance runners and assorted oddities. Americans Sam Meller, A.L. Newton, John Lorden, Michael Spring, and Thomas Hicks, all experienced marathoners, were among the favorites. Another American, this is the name to remember, this is a character, Fred Lors, did all his training at night because he had a day job as a bricklayer and earned his spot in the Olympics by placing in a special 5-mile race. So he won a 5-mile race, and now he's in a 24-mile race in the Olympics.
I can't emphasize how bored people were 100 years ago. Yeah, well, I'm done bricklaying. Okay, what do I want to do now? I guess I'll run marathons. I'll run all day after I've laid bricks all day.
Yeah, I mean, dedicated or bored, one of the two.
Anti-millennial.
We'll go with bored. Among the leading oddities were 10 Greeks who had never run a marathon. So that sounds like torture. Why would you even stand in line?
That 10 Greeks?
10 Greeks. I think anyone could enter.
So 10 Greeks. So 10 people came from Greece to St. Louis to run a marathon who'd never run a marathon before.
They might have been at the World's Fair and just said, like, sign me up. And it was definitely one family, right?
Hey, do you guys want to do this marathon? Yeah.
So that's exactly what the next one. 2 men from the Tusana, I don't know how to say this. Tsuana, Tsuana. Fuck, I feel bad.
Yeah, man, you lost me. Spell it again.
Tsuana.
Swana? Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to play this in the headphones. We'll be able to hear it. You won't be able to hear it. And then I got to get this right. Can't be messing up people's country name. Oh shit! It was tough. Suna sounds like Suna. Okay, so Suna. Where were we? So 2 men from Suna tribe. It's a tribe from South Africa. They were in St. Louis as part of the South African World's Fair exhibit, and they arrived at the starting line barefoot.
Power play.
You think the professional marathon runners laughed at them or were nervous?
Oh, nervous. Full-blown nervous.
I think they outwardly laughed because, racism was cool at the time and stuff like that. Like, look down at these tribesmen.
Sure.
But deep down, they were like, this is crazy. These guys are running barefoot. Nuts. Yeah. Okay, now this is my favorite guy and will probably be your favorite guy. A Cuban national and former mailman.
Yeah.
I love when, like, that seems kind of unfair. And former mailman, because was he a mailman like his whole life? Because anyone can be former anything. You can call me John Boy, former delivery driver.
Dude, I think mailman was a lot more respected back in those days. And like I mentioned with the car thing, mailman might have been like a cardio gig.
Maybe. But I'm saying just in general, you can use former anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think mailman, that's not like an insult or anything in 1904.
No. All right. He raised money to come to the States by demonstrating his running prowess throughout Cuba, once trekking the length of the island. So this dude was just running across the island of Cuba saying, hey, pay for me to go to the Olympics, pay for me to go to the Olympics, pay for, and the whole, kind of like Jamaican bobsled team. And everyone's like, okay, great. Yes, we will. You're going to go to the World's Fair. You're going to compete in the Olympics. You're going to crush it. Okay. As soon as he came to the States, he lost all his money on a dice game and had to walk and hitchhike to St. Louis.
In there, buddy.
So,
In there.
but he still competed. That seems like he swindled everyone. Like, okay, get me to America. America.
So did he defect? He had to. Or was this pre like that kind of Cuba stuff?
Yeah, it was pre that stuff.
Okay.
He could come and go as he pleased, but I mean, it sounds like he just wanted to go to America, and then he lost all his money.
Dice.
He went to New Orleans, lost all his money. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. So at 5 feet tall, he presented a slight but striking figure at the starting line, attired in a white, long-sleeved shirt, long, dark pants, a beret, and a pair of street shoes. So dude lost all his money and clothes and everything, so he just showed up in like his walking around suit of the day for the marathon.
5 foot flat.
Yeah.
White pants. Cuban guy in a beret.
Yep.
Out to run a marathon. Yeah, I'm gonna like that guy, Jim.
Yep. You're gonna like him so much more as this story continues.
Okay.
There's a picture of him. He was number 3 at the marathon. Great. One fellow Olympian took pity on Felix, found a pair of scissors, and cut his trousers at the knee. So that was nice.
Good to see that guys were still friendly back then.
But Felix might not have known English that well, and he was just like, dude, that
definitely could have been a mean thing.
was my only pair of fucking pants, man.
Guys cutting my pants right before the
It's my only pair of pants.
Please stop.
Please.
Stop cutting my pants.
I have no money. I lost it all, and now you're cutting my pants. Come to America, they take my money, they take my pant legs.
Follow-up question. Did the winner of the race like win anything? Was there a monetary prize or trophy or anything? Do you know that?
I don't. Maybe at the end.
Okay.
It'll say. Okay. So Fred Lors, the bricklayer, he led the 32 starters from the gun. But by the first mile, Thomas Hicks edges ahead. Hicks was a marathoner. William Garcia of California nearly became the first fatality of an Olympic marathon when he collapsed on the side of the road and was hospitalized with hemorrhaging.
Do we know like how far into the race that was? Because that's a power play if that's like mile 2.
Yes, I think it was very soon.
Okay.
That. Yeah. So I mean, this is the layout of the race, which I kind of skipped. It was a 24.85 mile course, which one fair officially called the most difficult a human being was ever asked to run. It wound across roads inches deep in dust. There were 7 hills varying from 100 to 300 feet high. Jesus. Some with brutally long ascents. In many places, cracked stone was strewn across the roadway, creating perilous footing, and the men had to constantly dodge crosstown traffic, delivery wagons, railroad trains, trolley cars, and people walking their dogs. There were only 2 places where athletes could secure fresh water, from a water tower at 6 miles and a roadside well at 12 miles. So like the quarter-way marks, you could get water on the 24-mile race.
I appreciate that. That's a lot better than nowadays. There's water at every mile or whatever it is. That's, hey, you got 2 chances for water. The water tower and the other place.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So James Sullivan was the chief organizer of the games and wanted to minimize fluid intake to test the limits and effects of purposeful dehydration.
Okay, now that's little Dr. Mangala there, but
yeah, the Olympic runners, we'll just use them as our lab rats.
Yeah, sure. Oh, one's hemorrhaging mile 3. Okay.
Cars carrying coaches and physicians motored alongside the runners, kicking the dust up and launching coughing spells.
Love it.
Love it. Okay, so the one guy starts hemorrhaging. The dust had coated his esophagus and ripped his stomach lining. He had gone unaided an hour long. Had he gone unaided for an hour longer, he might have bled to death. So tough start to the marathon.
From dust?
Well, I mean, into his lungs and stuff.
I know, but that's got to be a lot of dust, man.
I mean, these guys weren't training.
Yeah.
John Lorden suffered a bout of vomiting and gave up. There you go. Len Tao, one of the South African participants, was chased a mile off course by wild dogs.
Okay, so now we obviously like that. That's this is the original like Tough Mudder or one of those events.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was here for the World's Fair. Someone was like, "Hey, South African guys, I know you're here for the World's Fair, but we got this Olympics. You want to run in the marathon?" And they show up in like loincloth and no shoes. We're here to run. Gets chased by dogs immediately.
Yeah. He was definitely the guy that got convinced. They were like, "Come on, man, it'll be fun. It's like it's a long race, blah blah. Chicks will be into it." The guy's like, "I don't know. All right, I'll do it." Mile 4. Oh, there's the dogs. Get away.
Okay, now our dude Felix from Cuba. He trotted along in his cumbersome shoes and billowing shirt, making good time, even though he paused to chat with spectators in broken English.
Oh, yeah. He's having the time of his life.
Oh, what are you guys here for? Oh, we're here to watch you run. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Look at my new shorts.
This guy cut my shorts at the beginning. I'm making great time now. You like it here in St. Louis?
Just yelling Spanish at these St. Louis people that don't speak a lick of Spanish.
No, I lost my money. Been in New Orleans?
I came here with all my money. I lost it playing dice. Hey, aren't you in the race, dude?
Yeah. Gotta go. Bye.
This was fun. We got to catch up. Next World Fair.
All right. Even more about Felix. On one occasion, he stopped at a car, saw that its occupants were eating peaches, and asked for one.
That's just smart.
Being refused, he playfully snatched two and ate them as he ran. I mean, I don't know how playful that was. Like, he stole their peaches. But the dude's lost everything. He lost all his money. He lost his pant legs.
He did it in a playful manner.
You think he was playful? He's a mailman, so he's friendly.
If he's running a marathon and he's got the balls to do that after they said no, they must have been pretty out of shape.
Yeah.
That he thought he could get away. And so he asked for one, and then he said, okay, and then took two. That's the price you pay.
They were in a car, so he reached in and snatched it. How much do you think Felix, the mailman from Cuba, laughed at the South African who got chased by dogs?
He was laughing pretty good. He enjoyed it.
He's like, yeah, that was my first year on the job, buddy.
Yeah, well, a day in my non-shoes.
A bit along the course, Felix stopped at an orchard and snacked on some apples.
So let's be honest here. Felix isn't there for the race anymore. Felix is looking for food.
They said he was making good time, but yeah, he's just hungry dude.
So I've got a question, and I don't want you to give me any hints. Have you already mentioned whoever wins the race?
I forget.
Okay. Just curiosity killing the cat.
All right. The apples turned out to be rotten. Suffering.
Guy can't catch a break.
Can't catch a break. Suffering from stomach cramps, he lay down and took a nap. And that was the end of his race.
So his Cuba guy doesn't finish. He finishes at the apple orchard.
Imagine going back to Cuba and talking to the people that gave you money to run in this race. Like, yes, mailman Felix, we saw you running all around the coast of Cuba. You had to do great in the Olympics. You did us pride. We are so proud of you. How did you finish? What was your experience like? Well, I got out in New Orleans. I lost all the money you guys gave me. I went to the start of the finish line. They cut my pants. I can only run in pants. You guys seen me give the mail out. I'm a pants runner. I had to steal some oranges from people in a car that wouldn't feed me. Then I ate apples. They were rotten. I took a nap. I'm back.
People are waiting for his boat to come back. They're lining the shores with the Cuban flag. And then, Felix, did you win? No. Well, you made us proud anyways. How was it? Well, lost all my money playing dice day one in New Orleans.
Then during the race, I got done in by some bad apples.
The day my boat lands in the port, I lose all my money.
All that money you gave me, all that money you guys gave me, gone.
I rolled double sixes.
All right. Sam Meller, now in the lead, also experienced severe cramping. He slowed to a walk and eventually stopped. So much for Sam Meller. At the 9-mile mark, cramps also plagued Lors, that's the bricklayer, who decided to hitch a ride in one of the accompanying automobiles, waving at spectators and fellow runners as he passed. That's a great time.
Good times.
No, I'm in a car now. That race was hell.
Boy, did that suck.
You guys should find your own car. Hicks, one of the early American favorites, came under the care of a two-man support crew at the 10-mile mark. He begged them for a drink, but they refused, instead sponging out his mouth with warm distilled water. Disgusting.
So gross.
7 miles from the finish, his handlers fed him a concoction of stearchin, I don't know how to say that, stearchin and egg whites, the first recorded instance of drug use in the modern Olympics. Stearcinin, which I'm not pronouncing correctly, in small doses was commonly used as a stimulant, and at the time there were no rules about performance-enhancing drugs. Hicks' team also carried a flask of French brandy, but decided to withhold it until they could gauge the runner's condition. So this Hicks dude is getting like the best help in the world. There's a picture of him and the two guys running, helping him.
The original PEDs.
Yeah. Storchin. All right. Meanwhile, Lors, the bricklayer in the car, recovered from his camps, emerged from his 11-mile ride in the automobile, and got out. One of Hicks' handlers saw him and ordered him off the course, but Lors kept running and finished with a time of just under 3 hours. The crowd roared and began chanting, "An American won! An American won!" The finish line was still in like a big track and field place, like, big crowd.
Okay.
Just like a end of the road. Alice Roosevelt, the 20-year-old daughter of President Teddy Roosevelt, placed a wreath upon Lors' head and was just about to lower the gold medal around his neck when one witness reported, Someone called an indignant halt to the proceedings with the charge that Lors was an imposter. The cheers turned to boos. Lors smiled and claimed he had never intended to accept the honor. He finished only for the sake of a joke, which is always the best excuse. It was just a joke.
Joke, guys. Yeah, I would if you put the medal on me. Yeah, that would have been more funny. But okay, yeah, I was joking.
It was a gag. I got in a car. Obviously, it didn't count.
You think I'm running 3-hour marathons?
In his head, he's thinking, fuck, back to bricklaying. Okay, so Hicks, with the drug coursing through his blood, he had grown ashen and limp. When he heard that Lors had been disqualified, he perked up and forced his legs into a trot. His trainers gave him another dose of drugs and egg whites, this time with some brandy to wash it down. They fetched warm water and soaked his body at the head. After the bathing, he appeared to revive and quickened his pace. Over the last 2 miles of the road, wrote official Charles Lucas, Hicks was running mechanically, like a well-oiled piece of machinery. His eyes were dull, lusterless. The ashen color of his face and skin had deepened. His arms appeared as weights well tied down. He could scarcely lift his legs, while his knees were almost stiff. That sounds like everything he said sounds like he wasn't running like a machine.
You skipped through this pretty quickly. Egg whites, that performance-enhancing drug, Sotrin or whatever it is, and brandy. And it sounds like they gave him a bath mid-race.
They like sponged the top of his head so water fell all over, which is
Okay.
a great feeling. That's like you put the water in your baseball hat and go out and take the field.
Yeah. Oh my God. Egg whites and brandy, dude.
You're not running well on egg whites and brandy?
I mean, it's normally one or the other for me, but yeah.
So he began hallucinating, believing that the finish line was still 20 miles away. Okay, dude, he's just being dramatic now.
Little story twist. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you're just okay. Shut up, Hicks. In the last mile, he begged for something to eat. Then he begged to lie down. He was given more brandy, but refused tea. I mean, why refuse the tea but accept the brandy, guy? Marathon.
Once you start drinking, you got to keep it going.
He swallowed 2 more egg whites. He walked up the first of the last 2 hills and then jogged down the incline. Swinging into the stadium, he tried to run but was reduced to a graceful shuffle. His trainers carried him over the line, holding him aloft while his feet moved back and forth, and he was declared the winner.
Getting carried by his trainers.
So they literally picked him up. Me and my brother were doing this to a 4-year-old girl we were hanging out with yesterday. Hold up their arms. She fake runs, and we run, so it feels like she's running way faster than she could possibly run.
Sure.
It took 4 doctors and 1 hour for Hicks to feel well enough just to leave the grounds. He had lost 8 pounds during the course of the race and declared, "Never in my life have I run such a tough course. The terrific hills simply tear a man to pieces." Oh, this is good. Hicks and Lors would meet again at the Boston Marathon the following year, which Lors won without the aid of anything but his legs.
How about that?
Sounds like Lors lost the battle but won the war, because he was like, yo, if I finish this marathon in St. Louis, I'll probably die. My legs will stop working. I'll be done. I'll let Hicks win this as a sucker. I'll take a car. I'll be fresh for Boston Marathon.
Smart.
So Lors is the real winner. The real winner is – so who's your favorite character here?
I mean, it's tough not to love the Cuban guy, just because that's – if this was in movie form, we haven't even touched it up or anything. It's just like real life accounts. I mean, all the Cuban guy scenes are just so money.
They're like a Sacha Baron Cohen character. Like they're like a Borat-esque character. Just
Borat's too long for me. I'm picturing who's the Latin actor that's in like Kenny Powers, and he's in a lot of like famous stuff now.
Oh,
he's really good.
Yeah, I know him. He's in the new Tarantino movie about Marilyn Manson coming up. He's a good actor. I'm gonna find him right now. I know a movie he's in. He started out doing like joke roles, and now he's a serious actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Clifton Collins is his name.
Clifton Collins. Okay.
Clifton Collins Jr. Yes. From, let's see if we can get the readers to remember. He's in Westworld. He's in Ballers. What's his biggest?
Oh no, I'm not thinking of him.
Okay, who are you thinking of?
I'll find him.
Because we need the Cuban guy needs to be. He's the story.
That's not a bad pick though. Clifton Collins is also a good pick.
I don't know if he can pull off the funniness of this man.
Yeah, that's why I'm picturing the other guy. I might be a while. You know how I am searching the internet.
Felix Carbajal was his real name. I don't know. Dude, his Wikipedia starts, he was a mailman and long-distance runner. I want to find out the end of his life.
Michael Pena.
Oh, yeah. He could do it. He's not slim enough. He'd have to lose a lot of weight.
Yeah, he's got the good silly side while also being able to depict it as like like he thinks he's gonna win, but also pretty silly.
Yeah. Wow. The article left this out. After stopping to nap and recover, Felix rallied and finished 4th in the 1904 marathon.
Pretty not bad.
That's even a better story. What would have happened if Felix didn't nap?
Well, he needed the nap.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have pushed through.
No, Felix was hungover. It wasn't happening.
So he returned. Felix returned in 1900, the following year, 1905, and
Of
finished
course.
third in the St. Louis All Western Marathon. Wow! In 1906, the Cuban government funded Felix to run in the 1906 Olympic Marathon in Athens, Greece. How do you fund the guy who the last time you funded, the first thing he did was lose all your money gambling?
He's just the best there is, man.
Oh my God, Jake.
It's your horse.
Listen to this next line. I'll put the two together just to get to it.
Okay.
Carvajal was selected to represent Cuba in the 1906 Olympic Marathon at Athens, Greece, with his expenses funded by the Cuban government. However, he disappeared after landing in Italy and never arrived in Athens.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. He's the he was a con man. Cuba kept falling for it.
He just wanted out of Cuba, and he thought that being in marathons was the best way. Okay, this gets better. He was thought dead, and his obituary was published in the Cuban newspapers.
Wow. So see, that's where he's special.
They still were like, oh man, he must not have just took our money and ran away again and lost the money. He must be dead because he's a stand-up guy. Felix.
Faked his death.
Yeah.
He still wanted to go out on top in Cuba.
But he later returned to Havana on a Spanish steamer. He then turned professional and would go on to defeat American distance runner Henry W. Shelton in a 6-hour race in 1907. On May 8th, 1909, he participated in a marathon derby on a 6 laps per mile track at the Polo Grounds in New York City with an international field of 12 other professional marathon runners, the most notable being Durando Petrie. Carvajal was quickly lapped by the leaders after they had completed the first mile. And Carl finished was never out of last place. So this guy, I like this guy.
Yeah, he's a showman.
What did he do? Why didn't he go to the second Olympics? And where was he? They thought he was dead.
Playing dice, man.
Just playing dice. He lost all his money and had spent years trying to win it back so he could return to Cuba and not get killed.
It's kind of, is that smart? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, all right. You want to movie fight? You got any final thoughts? Wrap up?
I mean, the movie seems it's already there.
It's a comedy, like if we had to put a genre on it.
Oh, it's a comedy.
And there's like constant cutbacks to the South African being chased by dogs. Like he has his own storyline that we go back and forth through for comic relief, and it's just like he's still being like another dog joins.
It would be
another dog joins.
Yeah, the Cuban guy is having the time of his life eating peaches and apples, and then it would just cut back to the guy getting chased by dogs.
Yeah. That's great.
He definitely like talked crap to the Cuban guy before the race. No, yeah. The problem with this movie is like the preview would be a lot better than the actual full movie.
I agree, because the ending is not great. It's great that Felix comes in fourth. You know, it'd be cool when Felix comes in fourth. He acts as if he came in first. Like that was all he wanted. That was enough. He took a nap in the middle, came in fourth. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, you'd have to Hollywoodize the ending a little bit.
The back and forth between that, it'd be like in The Sandlot. They're running. Everyone's calmly watching in the movie theater. They're running. Everyone's calmly watching in the movie theater. They're being chased by the dog. Everyone's calmly watching in the movie theater. Dog comes through the screen. That would be the cut back and forth between Felix, like walking, eating apples, chased by dogs.
There would have to be
taking a nap, being chased by dogs.
The ending would have to be Hollywoodized a little bit, and it would have to be like, what am I looking for here? It would be, so like the guy who wins but has to get carried by his trainer. Like he's at the end, he's gonna win. He falls down with like half a mile to go or whatever. And like everyone has this look of like fear. And then he laughs. Like, he's like, well, I've already won. I got a half mile to go. Even if I have to catch my breath for a little bit, I got this. And then Felix enters the stadium. And like the crowd goes absolutely bananas. Like they thought he was dead. And then it's basically the ending of Talladega Nights. Good story though. This is a classic. It was like 10 years early before like you just mentioned, he got his ass kicked in the Polo Grounds.
Yeah.
This was like 8 years before like people took running seriously and were like, oh, this is a thing. We'll wear shoes. I don't know if they knew it was healthy yet. They probably did.
Probably. I mean, Felix lived a long life up until that.
Until he died in Italy. And then he came back a couple years later.
Yeah. Also, you have a great movie bit with Lors taking the car, being the fake winner.
Yeah.
Gets in the car, they're cheering. I don't know, the audience rooting for him, rooting against him. It's a comedy. So I think that's a funny bit as well.
You know who has to be in this movie? I'm putting the cast together. So Michael Pena is the Cuban guy.
Okay.
I can't tell if he's the real winner or the fake car ride winner, but George Clooney is in this movie.
As the
I don't know which one he is yet, but he has to be in this movie.
A young George Clooney is the guy, the cheater.
Yeah. He's sly but still very lovable.
Yeah. I like that.
He's about to go on a date with Teddy Roosevelt's daughter, and then it all gets pulled out from under him.
That was great. Getting crowned.
It was a joke.
The gag. Everyone knew I was in that car.
Oh, nobody does jokes anymore in 1904.
What is this? The Olympics?
Yeah. Come on, guys.
All right. So that's the story of the 1904 marathon. That's a fun story. If you didn't know it, I'm glad that you now know it. You can go look it up. Maybe I'll try and post some pictures on the website. We post these on talkingyanks.com because there are pictures. There's pictures of the South African guys at the starting line. There's pictures of Felix with his pants cut. There's pictures of Hicks getting help from his two trainers as he finishes, like with the bath and all that. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So that's that. Next week, we'll be talking about a single man, big badass, called Mad Jack Churchill.
MJC.
So tune in. Thanks for listening. Rate, subscribe, review. This is a new show, so ratings go a long way. So that would help us out. Thank you very much. Have a good day.